This is how to get in shape fast.
If you want to drop this,
start eating more of these.
And to start last season, Alexander Ovechkin was just 72 away. But the Great Eight got off to a not-so-great start. Through his first 24 games, he had just 5 goals. It took him 30 games just to get to 6. And yet, he wound up hitting 20 goals before the end of March to become the only player in NHL history with 19 consecutive 20-goal seasons. He scored 23 in the last 39 games to somehow still finish the season at 31. That rough start, though, casted some doubt coming into this season, now his 20th at age 39, because he was still 42 goals away. Well, little did we know, he seemingly found a fountain of youth, scoring 10 in his first 16 games, and now on pace to smash the record. Means that coming into tonight's matchup against Vegas, who he's lit up in his time with 9 points in 12 games, Ovechkin was now just 32 goals away. And boy, did he have a great night. There are currently 0 players in the league right now with more goals than Ovechkin at age 39. We are truly witnessing a living legend. So let's see how this one went down. It was just over 5 minutes in, and Hurdle was called for the trip, which he didn't love, but it put the Caps on the power play, and you already knew. It's Carlson to Ovi from his office, and he scores. Not exactly how he drew it up. It goes off Pietrangelo in front and in, but they count all the same, as it was number 11 of the year for Ovechkin, or something like that. But the man was far from done. However, first it was Strome to Chychrun, who was wide open and fired one home, beat Samsonov under his glove to extend the lead now to 2. And just as the opening period was set to end, the Knights would score. It's a wonky one off the end boards, as Howden getting a piece of it would cut the lead in half right at the end of the period, which gets us over to the second, where not 3 minutes in, Protas finds Vrana in the slot, and in back-to-back games, he gets on the board as the Caps would regain that 2-goal lead. However, a delayed penalty leads to Eichel dragging it, shot, rebound, and they score. Answering back, it's a beautiful toe drag, hits Hurdle in front as Colasar there to clean it up with his 5th would bring them within reach. And wouldn't you know it, it's a 2-on-1, falls apart a bit, but Vegas with the wide open net are stopped by who else but the Great 8 playing great on both ends of the ice to keep the 3-2 lead. I mean, give the man the Selkie. Vegas would then pressure again. It's Eichel again with a blind pass that leads to a giveaway, and it's Ovi 2-on-1. Samsonov is like, him. Stop that man. Pietrangelo doesn't, and so Ovi just rips one home for his 2nd of the night. He beats Samsonov blocker side for his 12th of the year now, and just look at the excitement this man still has after 865 goals. Incredible. And that was about it after 40, so we'll head to the 3rd and final frame, where Vegas was definitely the busier team, firing one off the pipe here and outshot the Caps 25-7 in the period, but Thompson, continuing to play well for Washington, stood tall against his former team, and so with 2.5 to go now, the net empty could only mean one thing: that Thompson would continue to shut them down, but also that Ovechkin was gonna give it a run. But while no dice on this first attempt, wide about 2 to 3 feet, he wasn't gonna be denied. Protas with the alley-oop, and it's the Russian machine overpowering Theodore, and there it is, the 31st hat trick of his career, 59th empty netter, as he places himself within 29 of the record. Again, we are truly witnessing a living legend. Enjoy it. He's got 11 goals in his last 10 games. He's now tied for the league lead with 13, as he's on pace for 63 goals. Oh yeah, did I mention he's 39? The Caps would end up taking this one 5-2 in Vegas, as Thompson saved 39 of 41, a great game. And yeah, that's about it for this one. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you in the next one.
You're not a child, you're a man. So stop wearing so many layers to go outside and get the bearskin.
Last night, as the Philadelphia Flyers played host to the Colorado Avalanche, not 7 minutes into the opening period, we got a really scary moment. During play, Mitch Dunning went down and was clearly in pain. Now, this came after a collision at the Flyers' blue line, as Josh Manson, coming up on the blue line, focused on the play, didn't see Dunning coming back. Now, luckily, his head didn't hit the ice, and all in all, actually didn't look like it was too vicious, but with the way his lower back hit the ice and the way he reacted to it, this was scary. The spine can be very delicate at times, and Dunning spent several minutes just laying there. Both teams' medical personnel gingerly attended to him before he had to be placed on a stretcher, and while he was moving his hand, what was super scary for me was that during the broadcast, I didn't see his feet move once. Now, Josh Manson was clearly as concerned as could be. I can't even imagine how he felt during all of this, as he did make sure to check in on him as they left the ice, and man, was it eerily quiet. Now, while the Flyers feed reported it was a major back injury, thankfully news eventually came out that he was fully communicative and could move all his extremities, so that was relieving to hear, and I obviously wish him the very best. Now, we'll get to the rest of the game as well, but I just wanted to also highlight the pregame ceremony celebrating EJ's 1,000 games, and this was pretty neat. Gabriel Landeskog was there to surprise him, which was obviously very cool to see. But anyway, with that, let's get to the game. And after this whole situation, it meant we went old school with just one ref. And while the Avs did look dangerous, especially on this one, Drouin shut down by Sanheim, who saved a goal here. The Flyers also got a few good looks on Annunen between the pipes while Georgiev is out. However, there were no goals in the first, and so we'll head straight over to the second, where the Avs now were definitely the better team. They got a close one here, but 8 minutes in, McKinnon finds Makar wide open, and he fires it home. Goes far side, post, and in to beat the rookie Kolosov, as the Avs would open the scoring. Just 2 minutes later, and it's Makar again. Almost deja vu, as Makar from McKinnon fires it home, blocker side and in this time for his 2nd of the night. Or did he? The Flyers would challenge it, and taking a closer look, Drouin, definitely in the blue paint, pretty easily called back. However, it wasn't long after, and Michkov, back checking, would take down Nichushkin as he gets called for holding and So, going to the power play, it was Makar taking a look, lobs one up, and he scores again. Looking for Lehkonen, it goes off a defender in front instead, and it's Makar's third of the period. Well, only the second that officially counts, but still. Anyway, from there, we'll go straight to the third, where things got a little testy. Wood and Tippett would get into it, a couple of roughing minors, which meant we now got some 4-on-4 action, where it's Grands finding Sanheim down low, and he's stopped by Annunen, who just gets to this one. A pretty save. And there were chances on both ends of the ice, as the Avs would test Kolosov, but then it was McKinnon getting called for a trip to give the Flyers a big opportunity. He didn't love the call here, as he was definitely pissed about it, and as a result, he got an extra 2 for unsportsmanlike to give Philly 4 minutes. They didn't get a whole lot done before they got a penalty. It's Brink catching Kiviranta, and we would go right back to 4-on-4 action, which eventually would turn to 4-on-3 as, you guessed it, another penalty. We had a penalty fest out there that eventually would see the Avs score their third straight. It's Rantanen with the shot, Middlestat cleaning up the rebound for his 7th of the year, and it was 3-0. But the Flyers still had a pulse. Konechny finds Tippett from way out. He would score, Annunen looking left, gets beat on the right, and this game got a bit more interesting, as just 2 minutes later, the shot goes off the end boards, the puck's loose, whistle doesn't go, and they score again. The puck was sitting there the whole time, just waiting for it, as the Flyers with 2 under 2 get right back into this game. As Bednar's like, all right, boys, that's enough. Time to finish this thing out. And while the Flyers did get a few more looks, they would eventually pull the goalie with 2 to go, and they did push hard. Gerard probably saving a goal here. However, time would eventually expire, as the Avs would hold on and win this one on the road 3-2. A big win for sure, but more than anything, I just want to again send my best wishes to Mitch Dunning. Hopefully he makes a full recovery. And yeah, that's about it for this one. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you in the next one.
I thought it would just be a quickie, but my husband went.
It's been a tough start to the season for the Nashville Predators. No doubt about it, as they just can't seem to get out of their own way and find themselves way down near the bottom of the league. Tonight, as they rolled into Seattle, things didn't get any better. Just 43 seconds into the first period, Nashville was called for a penalty. And while there was some confusion initially as to what for, listen to this.
Nashville has a minor penalty for starting the incorrect lineup.
Now, what gets me here is the crowd audibly laughing.
Number 91 was supposed to start instead of number 9.
Now, this is a very rare penalty, but we did see it back on December 15th of 2022 when the Oilers challenged the Blues starting lineup not matching the submitted one, and they were awarded the power play. What's interesting is O'Reilly was on the receiving end of that one too, but for those maybe not aware, because we don't see this every day, Rule 7 states that prior to the start of a game, the visiting team must submit their starting lineup. One of the home ice advantages teams get is that they get the visiting team's lineup prior to having to submit their own. Essentially, home team gets to dictate the first matchup, but if you deviate from what you submitted, it's a penalty. Rule 7 expanded shows this. For an infraction of this rule, a bench minor penalty shall be imposed upon the offending team. But here's something I want to point out. This is a challenged penalty, meaning the officials won't call this unless the home team alerts the referee. And the reason I mention this is because my first video this season was on Jessica Campbell making history as the first female coach behind the bench. I'm not going to show them, but many comments on that video were ridiculous. But surprise, surprise, it was Campbell who noticed this infraction and led to Seattle getting the power play.
I saw Jessica Campbell speaking right away to Dan Bilesma.
Anyway, while Nashville's coaches had a sleepy start, UC Soros did not, as on the ensuing power play, coming up with several nice stops, Saros ensured Seattle was not able to capitalize, and with some solid defensive work on the other end, Montour with a great stick lift here, all while not taking a penalty, and again Saros continuing to give Nashville some incredible goaltending. It meant that after 20 minutes of play, it was still a goalless game. And this continued over in the second with more good defense and more good goaltending, until with under 5 to go, Montour backhands one towards the net. It's Stevenson back for Sprong, and it's a beauty. From the keep-in at the blue line to the patience from Stevenson all alone, able to fake out everyone, it's a pretty one to finally open the scoring. However, with not much else going on from there on out, it means we'll head straight over to the third and final frame, where it wasn't a minute in and Stevenson towards the net and the Kraken score again. It's another beautiful pass from Stevenson as Montour gets a stick on it, and Seattle, just like that, would take a 2-goal lead. Nashville needed a push, and they got it. Ringing one off the bar here, then a defensive turnover leads to Leroux in all alone, but he's shut down by Decord, and so with under 10 to go now, Carrier putting one on net, and they finally would score. Or did they? Upon further review, this one was deemed to be kicked in by Novak, and of course, it was called back. They just cannot catch a break. But Decord liked it, and with Decord able to shut it down the stretch, with 4 to go, Nashville would pull Saros, and the 6-on-5 didn't change a whole lot for him, so Yanni Gourde slipping through would go down to the other end and put a lid on it with the ENG. From there, as time would eventually expire, Decord would secure his first shutout of the season, with Seattle improving to 10-9-1, while the Preds fall to 6-11-3. But that's about it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right, Gabby from Vegas, let's go ahead and pack your...
I'm offering you the opportunity of a lifetime.
Get Max for $2.99 a month for 6 months.
This Penguins team, I don't even know. They're just absolutely pathetic right now, and their attendance on a Friday night is telling. When maybe the best moment of the night was this.
Max Talbot, the man on the right there, apparently new to eating popcorn. He will be...
You know, it's tough for us Penguins fans right now. Last night, as the Winnipeg Jets paid visit to Pittsburgh, we got a continuation of what has been a brutal season in Pittsburgh. The Jets came out, and on their first shot on net, they score. Shocker. Puck along the dashboards leads to a turnover. Niederreiter takes advantage, and with his 8th of the year, he got things rolling. And the Jets were just solid. They nearly made it 2 in under 3 minutes, as this one was inches from being a goal. And say what you will about Jari, but dude had no chance, left out to dry. And while eventually the Penguins did finally get something going, Hellebuck was there when he needed to be, and all around, the Jets are just clearly on another level. And that was most evident in the second, as not 5 minutes in, Nemesnikov shot, rebound, but he scores anyway. It's Rust selling out, leaving Nemesnikov with a clear lane as he would take advantage to net his 6th to double up their lead. And the Penguins just no life right now. They're flat-footed, uninspired. Sid was the only reason they seem to get any chances as he forces a turnover here, which led to a great chance, but Helly, again, solid, even if he faced just 5 shots on net all period. But then a late penalty as Malkin got called for tripping Vilardi would put the Jets on the power play, and it was light work. Morrissey plays it well at the blue line, back for Connor, who comes down, threatens the shot, but links up with Vilardi in the bumper position, who scores his 8th, as the Jets would take a commanding 3-0 lead that they would take heading into the third and final frame, where to start that period, we got this. Connor laying down Crosby as, is it a reverse hit or interference? In my opinion, a true reverse hit would imply Connor had possession, Crosby came in for a hit, but got reversed. That's not exactly how I see this, but I mean, I'm not going to argue. It's nothing, man. major either way. However, Crosby's emotions did boil over. He went for Connor here, didn't get a good piece of him, so he came back again for another cross-check before we got a true heavyweight tilt. Two absolute knowing goons going at it. Still better than whatever this was, to be fair. But no, the scrap was brief and not all that eventful. It's Connor's first of his career, though, and Crosby's 10th, which is maybe a bit surprising, but these guys aren't out there to fill this role either way. To me, this was just embarrassing, pathetically embarrassing for the Penguins team, who again have no life. Rupper, former Penguin, I think said it best.
I took it personally when Sid had to do stuff like that. I wonder how much of that is to get an emotional spark, too. That should not be on his plate. Every other player on that team should step up before that has to happen.
He didn't like the hit, whatever. If the Penguins aren't in the dumps this year, it's very unlikely he fights here. This had very little to do with the hit and a lot more to do with the state of this team right now. 7, 11, and 3 in a three-way tie for last place in the Metro with no real prospect of anything changing. When your captain and star player has to do this for any spark, it should be a wake-up call. And for a moment in this game, it kind of seemed like it maybe was. After tripping call a little later, the ghost of Christmas time apparently tripped up Shea here. It put the Pens on the power play, a battle in the corner. As it gets to Rust, he finds Bunting, and they finally would get on the board. Helly still able to get a piece of it, but the Penguins did cut the lead to 2. And they had a little life with plenty of time, and they would get a glorious opportunity. Perfetti called for interference on Achari, gave them another power play opportunity, and they just had nothing. Not a single shot actually on net for full 2 minutes, as the Jets would kill it off with ease. And so with 2 to go, the Pens would now pull Jari, and while they pressed, the Jets are just solid defensively. Nothing there, and inevitably the Jets would end up putting a lid on things as Kyle Connor would net his 13th of the year and secure the Gordie Howe hat trick. Who had that on their bingo card? Anyway, after time would eventually expire, the Jets would take the victory on the road, improve to 17-3-0. What a story right now, but as for the Pens, I've got no words. That's about it for this one, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you in the next one.
The Penguins will play the Canucks today at 7:30 p.m.